So anyway, we go to number four, and again, winds not really windy, but just it's raining, man. It is hard. Like you can't. I mean, really, no reason to even have a glove on because I mean your hands are soaking wet, the grip's soaking wet, but the pin's just kind of right there in the middle. I figured it was about 160 yards. Just trying to hit a little fade in there and hit it. Feels really good, going right towards the flag stick, hits right behind the hole 2 inches, and then right in the hole. And I was like, just almost in disbelief. Like I knew it went in, but it's all also like playing golf for 16 years. Like, did it really go in?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robbie and Jonathan here. Appreciate y'all joining us today. Talk some golf, hear some great golf stories, and meet another incredible guest. Again, we want to shout out Western Birch, friends of the program, friends of BestBall. If you haven't checked out westernbirch.com, if you need golf tees, stop using those plastic ones. Do it like you're supposed to. Go get some Western Birch golf tees. Get them in whatever colors you want. You can customize them however you want, and they will last for a long, long time. They just did. Seth McWhorter does a lot of illustrations for them, a lot of designs, and they just released their kind of July 4th special. I don't know if you saw that. It was kind of an Uncle Sam holding a giant golf tee. It looked really cool. So, again, check out westernburst.com. If you use BestBall and the promo code, you'll get a free gift. So, but enough talking about that. Jonathan, we got a guest today.
We do. I do need to mention one more thing about Western Birch. Robbie was nice enough to get me some short tees because I'm terrible with the driver and I only use irons off the tee. Unfortunately, I'm colorblind as well, so they're really awesome. They're Tommy Fleetwoods, I think, short and brown. And every single time I hit it, I got to go get another one because I cannot find that stupid tee. So fortunately, Western Birch has a lot of different colors, so I'm going to order some ones that'll be bright and ugly and make sure that I don't lose them every time I swing. So, yeah.
That's funny.
They don't break, but I still lose them every single time. But anyway, no, we are here with another great guest, Marcus Maddox. For those of you who don't know, he was voted the most connected golf guy in the Southeast. Literally, maybe not literally, but if you do need to know anybody or anyone regarding golf in the Southeast, he is your guy to talk to. If you've ever met him, you would probably agree with this. One of the nicest guys that you've ever met, even though he's good at golf. A lot of time as you get better at golf, it feels like you get more of a jerk to people that aren't, like me. But I've played a couple rounds with him, and I'm terrible, and he still, for some reason, decided to come on the podcast and talks to me. So he's also, and we're going to talk about this for sure, the founder of Par 3 Tour, a great little fun way to play golf in a little different fashion. So we've been trying to get him on the podcast for a couple weeks, months, and now we're able to do it. So Marcus, thanks for showing up, man.
Absolutely, just happy to be here, man.
Yeah. So we always like to talk about how did you get involved in golf? Because you've been around it for a while. So tell us about when you first picked up a club.
Yeah, so I actually played baseball growing up and kind of got into golf a little bit later in my life. And my coach, he had asked me, he kind of found out I was playing golf, and he said, you can't play baseball and play golf at the same time. And I was like, well, I guess I'm out of here on the baseball thing. I've been playing since I was 6, but I love the game of golf. And so that's kind of what got me into golf. Just growing up in Augusta, deep appreciation for the Masters, and I chose the right school. I went to Augusta State University, and we won 2 national championships while I was there. So I know a lot of the players, and I don't know. I wasn't good enough to be on the team, I'll say that. It'd be a little bit different story if I'd played the golf kind of the way that I play now back then. But back then, I'm struggling to break 100 and, like the average golfer, right? But a lot of hard work, dedication. It also helped having a lot of friends at Augusta Country Club, and they would allow employees to play on Mondays. So we had to walk the golf course, if you've ever walked Augusta National, and I'm saying this for everybody that's on the podcast or listening to the podcast, if you ever walked Augusta National, it's the same terrain. I mean, it's literally right next door. So a very tough course to walk. But we would walk at least 18 holes, usually 27 and sometimes 36 on Mondays, because that's when they allowed the employees to play. So that's where I kind of learned the game. But I did have my first birdie at the Patch when I was 16 years old.
Nice.
Number 4, we went driver, 3-wood, and then I made a 60-foot putt. So just something that was crazy, a memory that definitely sticks out to me. But yeah, that's kind of how I picked up the game, and it's a love-hate relationship. Sometimes you go out, you're frustrated, you're not playing as well as you want to play, and then you go out the next time, maybe have lower expectations, and just have a really good round or a really good shot. Makes you want to keep coming back.
Sorry, I was going to say, anybody listening, Augusta Country Club and the Patch are pretty much the exact opposite when it comes to a golfing experience. So a 60-foot putt at the Patch might be the entire width of a green.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you doing at Augusta Country Club?
I just worked in golf services. They asked me if I want to work in the shop, but honestly, I didn't really have any interest in trying to be in the golf world at that time. And it's funny. So with golf services, we would take care of carts, take care of members clubs, things like that. Anything and everything. There was a bachelor party one time that I actually caddied. Didn't have any experience caddying, but I was like, hey, they kind of gave me the rundown, and they said, hey, shoot yardages and things like that, and make sure these guys don't get too hammered and get in trouble out here at this nice private country club. So we had a really good time, and who knows, maybe it was that experience that got me into caddying, because I did caddying for a few years, and I don't know, yeah, Augusta Country Club, Augusta Municipal, that's two totally opposite ends of the spectrum. But in a sense, with all the changes that are coming up with Augusta National and all, in a way, I guess they're kind of related. So, I don't know, kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be nice if the Patch turns into something closer to the Augusta Country Club and still remains private. So we'll see if those things connect at the same time.
Yeah, so, I mean, with the Patch, when I went to the panel meeting a couple months ago, they had the general public out, and they wanted to hear from the public to kind of get ideas of what we would want as the general public. And I did find myself kind of torn, because I like nicer private clubs, and it's the opportunity to play some of those places. But also, there's a big difference between some of the nicer private clubs that you may never get to play and a public course, that gets played all the time. So I just found myself kind of being torn on, this is going to be for the general public. So I don't think they're going to design something that, is $70 or $80 a round. But they have announced that Tom Fazio is designing it, and I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job, and whatever they do out there.
Yeah, so another piece that you're obviously involved in as the CEO and founder of is the Par 3 Tour, which I've had the opportunity to go out and participate in. Probably the most fun, late afternoon, early evening golf I've had in a long time. So talk about what it is, how it works, and then why in the world you decided to come up with it to begin with.
Yeah, so me and my business partner, we had talked about it for a couple of years, and I would probably say the inspiration probably came from Augusta National, just going to the Par 3 contest that's held the Wednesday before the tournament. So I would say we drew some of the inspiration there, but it's something that we wanted to create just for the everyday golfer. It's we can play this format on a full regulation golf course or a Par 3 course, but you set up the course where you play it from 70 to 130 yards. And what this does is it allows you the opportunity to make a hole-in-one on every single tee shot. So normally at a full regulation golf course, you're going to get 4 or 5 opportunities to make a hole in one. But you're tripling your chances by having every single tee shot be from 70 to 130 yards. And I'm proud to say in our first year we've had several hole in ones, and we're just going to continue upon that. We do a little skins game as well, which is fun. And if you're in the skins game and you make a hole in one, that usually pays out. We haven't had any hole in ones cut yet, but I have heard of that. I actually have heard of that. In another tour, they had 2 guys that weren't actually in a hole in one contest for the year, and they both made hole in ones and actually cut each other's skin, which is kind of crazy. So somebody made birdie, still made the skin money. They both made hole in ones and cut each other's skin, which is crazy. But
so where all are you doing the par 3 tournaments now?
So we've had several events this year, but coming up, there's 4 courses that we're going to try to start leagues at, and it'll be Midland Valley, Pine Ridge, Augusta Municipal Golf Course, and Hounds Lake Country Club. So just a kind of a wide collection of some courses that we have in the CSRA. All of these golf courses are really excited to work with us at this time. So, but we have a tournament scheduled, at the Chalk Mine. We have a tournament scheduled at Westlake Country Club, and I see you smile there, Robbie, because we got to go experience the Chalk Mine.
That's right.
Man, it was incredible.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have the opportunity to go play it later this week. I got a buddy and get to take him out there to play it for his very first time. So I'm excited to show it to him because that's a special place.
It really is, and we could talk more about that in a second. I do want to ask though, when you're talking to these courses about regulation courses, full 18 hole, par 72, whatever, and you say, hey, we want to bring a par 3 tournament. You say they're fairly receptive. It would seem, and maybe this is just my immediate, how does this work? If you've got, let's say, 50 to 100 gals that are playing in this tournament, and all of a sudden they're hitting from 130, 120 yards, 60 yards, whatever, they're going to tear up a chunk of the fairway or whatever. So how do the courses react to you saying, hey, let me convert this par 4, par 5 into a par 3?
Yeah, that was a big concern that we had right off the get-go. We didn't know if we may have needed to play off mats or things like that. But our very first tournament was at the River Golf Club, and I have the pleasure of knowing the heads grounds guy out there, Patrick. And I actually went back to the course the day after. We were very cognizant to make sure that we put sand out on every tee shot. And I went to the course the next day just to kind of see what he thought about us and how the course was the day after. And he said, "Man, we really honestly didn't even notice." He said, "Your guys were really good at putting sand in the divots, and we're getting close to 200 rounds a day. So honestly, it's not really tearing up the golf course." So we were really concerned, but I've not had one complaint so far. At the 6 or 7 golf courses that we've had tournaments at, we've had no complaints on tearing up the golf course.
You're trying to make this into a tour that expands outside of the Augusta-Aiken area, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan. Next year we plan to go national. We got some really cool things in the works. I think I've shared this with you, Jonathan, but I'll go ahead and share it with you now. Kevin Harrington, one of the original members of Shark Tank, has asked us to come run a par 3 tour event at his home club, which is the Vinoy in St. Petersburg, Florida. And so we don't necessarily have a date set up for that, but he's starting a foundation, and we are going to have a humongous par 3 tournament, for all of his colleagues, for people from around the country. So we kind of look at this as maybe a launching point for us to go national, and we're just really excited about the future. Yeah, we want to take this all over the country next year.
Well, and I can tell you, as someone who's not very good at golf, probably one of the most fun times I've had on a golf course was doing the par 3 tour at the Patch. You go out there, it's starts around 3:30. So if you're trying to get off work just a little bit early, I think we were out there for maybe an hour and a half. We played 9 holes through twice. You had a short tee, which was about 70 yards, so some sort of short wedge, and then 130 yards. I think the longest might have been 140. So for me, that's still a wedge. For others, it's like a 7-iron. But either way, it was just easy and fun. Went out as foursomes, shotgun style. I think it was $30. And man, you're talking about the bang for the buck in terms of having a good time. And the nice part is, well, most of the time, you're going to be close to the green after your first shot. There were a handful of ones that I was still 100 yards away because I chunked something off the ground. But yeah, if you're somewhere trying to figure out how this works, how to do it, you should absolutely reach out to Marcus. Say, hey, we'd like to bring this to our area. And it's a lot of real quick, easy fun. And I think the one thing I remember most about it was I wasn't sore the next day, right? I played 18 holes and I wasn't sore. So that's a win all the way around.
Right, and most of the tournaments, like you said, time frame. Most of the tournaments, we had a tournament this last Friday at Eisenhower Lakes, and it took us 2 hours and 40 minutes to play 18 holes of golf. You know, it's a bogey max. It's fast paced. It's fun. It's friendly. There's camaraderie. It's just a great way to play golf. It really is. I've played in several of the events, and it's a fun format, you know. And we do a net game, and so you know it really kind of equalizes the playing field. You know, Jonathan, you're probably going to get like 9 shots on me. You know, I'm a 2 handicap. I'm not getting any shots. So just this last Friday, playing in the event, I was 3 under through the first 9, and I knew it was going to take something strong. I mean, usually it's anywhere from 2 under, 4 under, up to like 7 under that you've got to shoot to contend to win these tournaments. And being a 3 under, I felt like I was right on pace, but I knew I had to kind of put the gas pedal down, and I ended up finishing at even par and getting smoked. The guy shot 6 under. But it's a lot of fun, you know. I mean, that's what it's all about, is just having fun. We've got a great group of guys that come out and play. So, I would just encourage you, come out and play. Try it.
Is it a league, or is it anybody can show up and play? How does that work? How would somebody get involved? Where would they find out more information about it?
Yeah, so we have a website that has some of our main events that's going on. So that'll be the first place that you can find out more about what we are and what it's all about, and that's par3tour.org. So that would be a good place for people to go. You can go look at our frequently asked questions page. You can go look at our schedule, and we keep that updated. So we got several events coming up in July, several in August. Yeah, but we're trying to get a league started at some of these other courses. So in the next couple months, just stay tuned, and we'll get that information out to you.
Well, another thing that you're a part of, because, and this is one of the things I really appreciate about Marcus, he's a believer, doesn't hide it, won't show it from you, and also he's a family man, right? Like, his kids are important. Here in a little bit, we are going to talk about your hole-in-one, because we did have a question if it was you as your son. But one thing I want you to have an opportunity to share with our listeners is Juliet's journey. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about what that is for your family and what that means.
Yeah, so we had a diagnosis a couple of years ago. Actually, my daughter will be 3 this July. It's just in a couple days. And we had a diagnosis that our daughter was going to have some issues with her heart. And obviously, being a believer, there's things that I found out, before she was born. All kids are actually born with a hole in their heart. And when you take that first breath, there's enzymes that starts working in the heart, and a lot of times that hole will just fill itself in. Her situation was a little different. The hole was a little bit bigger. The doctors pretty much warned us of that something was going to happen after birth, whether that be surgery or very strictly monitored. So we were just trying to prepare our emotions to handle that. And actually, the birth was pretty normal. We just had it was an emergency C-section, but my wife just went in to get checked, and they were like, you're not leaving, you're having this baby. So she gives me the call, and me and the doctor actually show up at the same time. We're riding the elevator up. It's kind of a weird dynamic. Um, but anyway, everything went really, really normal with the pregnancy and the birth. They kept my daughter in the NICU for 24 hours just for observational purposes, and they had kind of prepared us for the worst. Hey, there's a possibility she could be in the NICU. We would very much expect 7 days. And if it's over 14 days, that would be more on the extreme side. I mean, that's what they were telling us up front. But again, she was just there for 24 hours for observational purposes, and went home just like normal. But it was pretty soon that we, still understood. She's got issues with her heart. She's gonna need some attention. Things such as heavy breathing, and when she was taking her bottle, she's sweating, and so we just stayed, in close relationship with the doctors, and her condition continued to get worse, and she needed a full AVSD repair, which basically they would go in, open heart, open chest, and put a mesh material in her heart that would grow with her, and hopefully everything would work out pretty good. She also has a smaller aorta. So 13 surgeries later, we're here to say that she's doing great. Just before we got on the podcast, spending some time with her, and she's got a little attitude, and she's got a Facebook page as well. It's Juliet's Journey. But speaking of her little attitude, one of our friends that we had over, he was just kind of doing a sassy, like snapping her fingers, and so that's her new thing. She's just snapping her fingers. But she's our world. She's awesome. There's a lot more that I could explain, and I'm sure my wife would probably do a better job, on telling the full medical history. But if you want to know a little bit more about that, obviously you can look at her page. She has 80,000 followers on Facebook, which that wasn't necessarily our intention when we started that, but it just really took off, and it really just shows you the power of community and the power of prayer. We had churches in Vietnam that were praying for my daughter 12 hours away. 7 a.m. here in Augusta, 7 p.m. there in Vietnam. And they had, full churches that were praying for my daughter. I mean, I can just tell you churches in California and Canada. So she's kind of an international sensation. I'll walk into the grocery store, and I get it all the time. People are like, "Hey, you're Juliet's dad." It's not, "Hey, Marcus, you started the Part 3 store." It's like, "Hey, dad, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." But we've had a lot of positive things that have come from this as well. So, it's a crazy thing to go through. How do you go through something like this? You just take it one day at a time. We've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people that have had issues with their children, disabilities, and things like that, and you just take it one day at a time, and everybody's situation is a little bit differently, but thankfully the doctors won't say like she'll never need another heart surgery, but at this time, it's looking like it's going to be years before she needs any other attention, and she's doing fantastic.
That's great.
The community can be found all over. That's really nice to. And listen, and this goes back to, if you're listening to this and your kid's in that situation, get in touch with Marcus, get in touch with Julia's Journey's Facebook page. I know for a fact he'd take the time to sit down, talk you through it, all the experiences they had, and hook you up with the rest of the community that they're connected to.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
And happy early birthday to Juliet.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so
much. Happy 3 years. There's nothing better than a 3-year-old with an attitude. How about those things, right? We've got older kids, so. As it turns out, after they turn 3, they still have an attitude. I've got a 19, 16, and 13-year-old, and it hasn't gone away yet. Maybe someday it will. Well, the other day, to talk about family, you posted on Facebook and also, I think, on a little internal Par 3 tour chat place. You and your son were out playing. He looked pretty soaking wet, and one of you hit a hole-in-one, and I think that's you, right?
Yeah, so I made the hole-in-one, and I'll just give you the rundown. So when we teed off, I had my friend Brian McKenna. He asked me to go play golf at Westlake Country Club, which we've been a couple times. We've taken our boys out. They're born within a couple months apart, so they get along really well. And with drive, chip, and putt coming up for both of them, we just wanted to get them out on the golf course and get them practiced up and trying to really get them into the game. And so he had asked me to come play, and I said, yeah, that'd be great. We don't have anything going on this Saturday. Let's go play. So we teed off, and there was about a 15% chance of rain. Well, we got all 15%. We get to the pool, and I mean, it just starts like light drizzle. And before we finish the hole, like it's a heavy rain. I mean, where the water's kind of puddling up on the greens. And, that was our intention, to just kind of come out, play golf, maybe go to the pool afterwards, have dinner. But, I looked at him, and he was just like, let's just keep playing. And I was like, well, this is fine. It's not lightning. You know what I mean? It's just rain. And the kids seem to be enjoying it. So, hit par one, par two. On three, I bogeyed the hole, even though I hit a perfect drive, hit it, pin high, maybe a 20-foot putt, and then I three putt. I actually thought the green was going to be a little bit slower because it had some water on it, and it actually ended up draining pretty well, and the putt ended up going, 6 foot by, and I missed the comebacker, so I made bogey. That's not the end of the world. My mindset is kind of like, man, this is just kind of crazy that we're just playing golf with this. Like, not that we should stop, but I just can't, like, nobody's even saying we should stop. So maybe we're just all crazy and we're all in this together. And something that I've been trying to do within the last couple of weeks is just to have more of a positive mindset on the golf course. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty positive person, but, playing in tournaments, I'm competitive, and I can't tell you how many times I lost a golf tournament last year by one shot. And so this wasn't necessarily, that dynamic. We're just out there having fun. We would probably give 2 or 3 footers. We're having fun with the kids. Actually, Lachlan, the other kid that we played with, he hit it on the green, and I think he 3-putted, and he was like, will you give me that for par? And he's like, I'll pick it up if you give it to me for par. And I was like, sure, whatever. That's good for par, whatever. So anyway, we go to number 4, and again, winds, not really windy, but just it's raining, man. It is hard. Like, you can't. Really no reason to even have a glove on, because your hands are soaking wet, the grip's soaking wet, but the pin's just kind of right there in the middle, and didn't even range the hole, because you don't want to get the rangefinder soaking wet. It's just, I don't even know. It was so hard. The rain was so hard. I'm not even sure that it would pick up, in a range with the rangefinder. So I didn't even get the rangefinder out. I figured it was about 160 yards, just trying to hit a little fade in there, and hit it. Feels really good, going right towards the flag stick, hits right behind the hole 2 inches, and then right in the hole. And I was like, just almost in disbelief. Like, I knew it went in, but it's also like, playing golf for 16 years. Like, did it really go in? Like, I couldn't hear it if, because of the rain. Maybe it just bounced off the flag, and I don't know. But, like, then I got my rangefinder, and I'm looking, and I see a ball mark. I could even see the ball mark from 160 yards, and I'm like, man, that's in the hole, guys. You know what I mean? But didn't even get any great pictures or anything like that because it's soaking, just raining. But we walk up there, and it's in the hole. So something that's been eluding me for 16 years. But I would just tell people, keep the hope, keep the faith, keep hitting good shots, and sometimes they go in.
Well, I saw the divot, and if it hadn't been raining as hard as it was, that ball would have been probably another 10, 15 yards past the hole. So
yeah,
the other
sure.
the other one is always play in the rain. That way, maybe you'll hit a hole in one.
Well, it is funny, when it started raining. I'm serious. I'm trying to take a more positive approach to the game, and I do think it helps. But I mean, even the guy that won today, you know, in his interview, that's something that he mentioned. He said, "Hey, you know, I'm working with a hypnotherapist, you know, and trying to like I've kind of been in a funk, you know, and it's a big part of the game." So I told the guy I was playing with, I said, honestly, I kind of like playing in the rain. You know, the greens do get a little softer, you know, and if you're hitting the ball pretty well, it's pretty much going to stay wherever you hit it. So it's crazy to think, but you know, golf was invented in 30 mile an hour winds, you know, and pretty harsh elements. So you know, we don't get weather like that all the time, and I've become more of a fair weather golfer, but sometimes it is fun just to be out there. You know, and the beautiful part of the story, like we didn't even finish the whole round. We went, you know, we had kind of decided, we got a little slower on the back nine, maybe because of the rain, and we just decided after hole 15, we were just like, let's just pack it in and let's go hit the pool. And I was cool with that. I didn't necessarily want to finish the round. It wasn't like, you know, I shot a couple under, you know, on the 9 holes, but we didn't even fill out a scorecard because it's soaking wet. So I need to go back, fill out the scorecard. Play with the ball. I did take the ball and I put it in the bag. So that's going to go in the trophy case somewhere.
That
That's
is really
awesome.
cool. Well, one of the no,
Have you been
No.
close? You've been close, right?
I've been close, yeah, but no, haven't had one.
When the ball is in the air, in my head, I'm always close, and then it lands, and not the case. I think the closest I ever thought I was. I have apparently really bad depth perception, and I thought this is on it. This is there, 10 yards short. It was in line with the hole, but it wasn't. It wasn't exactly on the hole.
Right.
Well, we almost saw one recently, Marcus. You were talking about going over to Chalk Mine, sorry, and on the 9th hole. The gentleman, I think he owns a barbecue place. He had to leave after we played 9 more, but he had to leave. But he stuck it to like an inch on the last hole, which was an incredible shot. That place is amazing. You've been there. I don't know how many times you've been, but we talked about it before. Tell people about the Chalk Mine and just how awesome a place that is.
Well, it's an awesome place. You know, it was built as the first tee Aiken, you know, and for many years they haven't had a place where kids can really practice and can play the game of golf. I've got to know the director, Heidi, very well the last couple of years, and she's doing an amazing job. And they're actually on a capital campaign right now to try to raise some money to get a little bit better facilities out there. The golf course is just immaculate. It's a great place for people to practice golf. They actually have the USC Aiken team that practices out there. It's a very, very challenging golf course as well.
Yeah.
And what it shows you is that you don't have to have a championship level golf course for it to be challenging. The designer actually owns the Aiken Golf Club and Cedar Creek, and the story is him and his buddies are semi-retired, and they just wanted a place to, you know, they wanted to help out any way that they could. So basically, three guys and a tractor later, you know, they've got a unbelievable place, you know, and the holes range from 70 to 120 yards, and it's challenging. I mean, there's some holes where, you know, the hole may be only 60 yards, but if you're not, you know, over 45 yards, or if you're, you know, 70 yards, either way, you're going to be in major trouble. And it has a tendency to get you. I was playing with a guy out there, and I believe he was 3 under through 5 holes. And you know, if you're 3 under through 5 holes, you really don't want to like start talking to somebody. But like, he was challenging course record. George Bryan has, you know, a 5 under round out there, and I mean, he was on pace, you know. But I think he ended up finishing 2 or 3 under, which is still a great little 9 holes out there. But
Yeah.
it's just that course, it'll challenge your short game, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robbie and I
that's
talked
fun.
about it. It's probably the most fun I've ever had on a golf course. Maybe the same idea. It's a par 3, shoot good, shoot bad. It's not a long walk We played a full 18 because we played 9 with 5 of us and then came back and played another 9 with 4 of us. We were out there maybe 2 hours, 2.5. You weren't tired. You weren't sore. And no matter how good or bad you were, like I shoot around 100. Marcus shoots around low 8, some going to 70s and 80s, right? Like you're below 80 most of the time. Robbie's in the mid 80s to around 80. And every hole was challenging for all of us. I had shots that were better than everyone. I had shots that was worse. We had one guy that used to play the Corn Ferry Tour, he picked up at least twice. I think my shot of the day was a 50-yard putt up the walking path. And I think I scored better than almost everybody on that hole because it was that. You mentioned, though, it's funny because whenever you first said it's a place where kids can learn how to play golf, my first thought is there's no child anywhere that can learn how to play golf at that place other than the driving range. And like hole number one is a place you can learn how to play golf. Once you get up past that, it's nearly impossible. But
it gets crazy. Yeah. It gets crazy really quickly.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for whenever we all get together and build ourselves a park recourse, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I would ask, I'm pretty sure you're going to get the same answer, though, and you can just defer and say, yeah, what is your most memorable golf shot? I'm assuming it's your hole-in-one, or do you got something else in the bag?
Actually, I have something else in the bag.
All right.
We're going to get to talk about it, but since you brought it up, I would say my most memorable golf shot, I actually didn't see it go in the hole. But I would preface this by saying me and my dad were having a conversation, and we were just talking a couple of years ago, and we were, my dad, he's probably more like you, Jonathan, probably shoots around 100, sometimes we'll get in the low 90s. But we were just talking, and I asked him, I said, what would you rather have, a hole-in-one or an albatross? And we kind of disagreed. If you look at statistics, it's much harder to get an albatross than it is to get a hole-in-one. And I don't know that I've ever, before this conversation, I don't know that I'd ever been close to an albatross. Made an eagle on a par 5, but never really close to, or it's not even something that you see, it's not very common, So anyway, I told him I'd rather have a hole-in-one because I feel like, I've been close to a hole-in-one. I've never even been close to an albatross. And he was like, yeah, I think I'd rather get an albatross. So the next week, I'm playing at Belmead, number 7, and wind was directly in our face. And we're playing from the tips, and hit a pretty good drive. I had 239 yards. And so I had a hybrid, and it goes right in the hole. And I didn't see it. There was nobody by the green. We were playing for a little bit of money. We had eagles established, but albatross not established.
Right.
No double eagles were established. So that's got to be the most memorable golf shot. And again, just really didn't expect it. Greens were really fast. We couldn't even find a ball mark. I don't know if it hit before the green. I knew I hit it well, but 240 yards, you can't really see all that well. But none of us saw it go in the hole, but we go up there, and my buddy got up there first, and he said, your ball's in the hole. Double eagle, man. So I was like, that kind of made my round for sure. And I would say that's got to be the most memorable golf shot that I've hit.
So what was the call back to your dad like then a week later?
Yeah, it was just like we talked it into existence.
You were right.
Yeah, you're right. I would rather have an albatross first, I guess, But now I've got both, and so I guess, again, like I said, I just think you keep trying at it. That's the game of golf. You keep trying at it, you get a little better. You never achieve, Akshay played really well all week, and I had him and Cam Davis on my team. But my team wasn't great, but I did pick number 1 and number 2, which is awesome. But he did really good, all week. But he 3-putts the last hole. I think it was the first 3-putt he had all week.
Yeah.
And he loses by one golf shot, Yeah. So you just got to keep your head down, and that's what keeps us coming back out,
Absolutely.
no matter your skill level, you get out there, you hit one golf shot, and it keeps you coming back. And that's something I read a quote the other day that said, the average person can't throw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. You know what I mean? We can't make 8 3-pointers in a row, but we can hit a tour level shot every now and then. And so it's the game that is, the amateurs are as close to the professionals than in any other sport. And they're way out of our league, but anybody can hit a good golf shot. Even when it comes down to putt. Give my wife a little credit. Took her to Topgolf a couple of years ago, and she smoked me in the putt contest. And I'm like, I actually play golf, and you just smoked me. So needless to say, we haven't been back there for a while because I'm competitive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. This might be our first albatross story on the podcast. So, man, now we can say we had one of those.
No, I was going to ask you.
6 million to 1.
I was going to say your next one needs to be a hole-in-one on a par 4 because that's what the guy from Gimme Golf Club, he has his hole-in-one story, but it was a par 4.
Kyle Walton. Yep.
Kyle Walton.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been close to that, but hey, here we are talking about it. Maybe we're going to talk it in fruition.
Let's do it.
Go. We just need like a 275-yard par 4. That sounds like a good idea. I don't know if I have a 275 club anymore. We can find something.
Let's just go play golf. That's what you got to start with.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, number 17. There we go.
There we go.
Hey, golf friends. This is Robbie from BestBall. Are you looking for the ultimate Myrtle Beach golf experience? Well, it's only a click away. Check out the 2-play special at 2 of America's most awarded public golf courses and 2 of my personal favorites. Caledonia Golf and Fish Club and True Blue Golf Club are low country masterpieces featuring 2 iconic Mike Strantz designs. Play these 2 incredible courses for one great price. Visit truebluegolf.com to learn more about the 2-play special and book your tee time today. That's truebluegolf.com.
Well, Marcus, we also do this thing called a quick 9. It's kind of a rapid fire Q&A. We'll ask some questions. We'll go back and forth. You can elaborate on these answers as much as you want, but I'll start. What's the favorite golf course that you've ever played?
Oh, man, that is such a good question. I'm going to say, just because it's so different than any course that I've ever played, I'm going to say Stream Song Black.
Nice.
Sounds nice. What course is at the top of your bucket list?
Just being from Augusta and being on the waiting list, Augusta National, it's got to be top of the list.
The waiting list to be a member?
Not to be a member. Hey, there is a good story about that. April Fool's Day 2 years ago, we're sitting in the car in a rain delay, and my dad was like, hey, you should, we got to come up with a good April Fool's Day joke. Like, it's April 1st, We're Anwa a couple years ago. And I was like, why don't I just call my wife and tell her that they want me to be a member of Augusta National? So we make up the whole plan. She's calling people all over the country. You're not going to believe this. Marcus is a member of Augusta National now. Like, you can't believe this. Like, we'll have to have you out there for dinner. Like, it's just crazy. It's blowing our mind. So we let that go on, for a couple hours, and then I told her I was joking. But yeah, Augusta National. That's got to be on the list to play for sure.
Listen, I wasn't joking when I said you're the most connected golfer in the Southeast, because even your wife was like, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that happening.
Yeah, right.
If I know one person that got the phone call like, hey, we really like what you're doing with golf in the area, we'd like for you to represent Augusta National too, you'd be that guy, 100%.
All right, let's make the pack. If it ever happens, I'll have you guys out there. You got a connection.
There we go.
Well, this might be an easy answer. Your favorite professional golf tournament? Maybe we'll give you 2 shots. You can give us 2 answers.
It's not even close. It's the Masters. And yes, I'm biased, but I have had the opportunity, even this year, got to go to the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, I've been to the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Been to the Players Championship earlier this year. Those golf tournaments are awesome. They do a great job. But nothing is like Augusta National. Nothing is like the Masters. They just do it differently. And you listen to the professional golfers talk about it. They just have attention to every single detail, and it's just the best.
Yeah, I would agree. So we're going to exclude the Masters from this question, but what is the dream course for par 3 tour to play on?
Oh, that's a great question. So we kind of have the idea that we would like to have a national championship in Las Vegas, because who doesn't want to go to Las Vegas, right? There's a couple courses out there that are lit, and so there's
awesome.
potential that we could have a tournament out there. They are very high quality golf courses, and the opportunity to be able to play par 3 tournament under the lights, I think would be really cool. And I don't know the name of it, but I would say that would kind of be the dream of where we could have a par 3 tournament.
National tournament sounds like fun.
Well, who would be in your dream foursome?
Oh, that is a great question. So usually I would say y'all get professional golfers.
It can be whoever you want.
Whoever you want.
I'm drawing a blank. So let's do this. So my dream foursome would be you two guys and my dad at Augusta National. How about that?
Listen,
I mean, if we're going to speak anything into existence,
right,
let's make this happen.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've played around the golf with your dad because we did the par 3 tour. Same cart, great guy to play golf with. We shoot about the same. Just an incredible attitude. I'll speak on behalf of an incredible man of God. Great, just a great man in general. You've got a lot to live up to. You're doing okay so far in our relationship, but your dad over 18 holes is a lot to live up to.
I'm better than him at golf. He's better at me in many other ways.
All right, this one is always my favorite one. What is your favorite snack on the golf course?
It's hard to beat a banana. It's just it's easy, sticks right in the bag. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's just hard to beat a banana on the golf course.
His least favorite snack is the old banana he found in his golf bag. All right. You obviously love a lot of different courses and have been in a lot of different places. What's your favorite golf course logo?
Oh, man. I can't be Augusta National on everything.
No, let's go something different. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do something different. Here's one for you. So TPC Sawgrass, in their pro shop, they have a goat logo. And there's actually a story behind that. I don't own anything with the GOAT logo, but here's my promise to you guys. So in July, I'm going to have the opportunity to play TPC Sawgrass, the stadium course, and I got to get something with the GOAT on it because I love that logo. Now here's the cool thing about it. So Pete Dye designed the golf course, and they had problems, trimming that grass, the natural environment. So they brought in goats to help maintain the golf course. So that's kind of the story behind that. And in the clubhouse, they have pictures of the goats. And, one of the old timers, we were having a conversation and he came in and he told me this story and I was like, that's amazing. And then when I was there earlier this year, that's something newer that they've come up with is the GOAT logo that you can only buy in their pro shop. So I got to get me a GOAT logo hat. I got to get it.
Yeah.
Don't
really tell my
cool.
wife. Don't tell my wife you're getting me another hat, but I want another hat. So, yeah.
You got it.
All right. I'm interested in your perspective on this. If you could change one rule in golf, what would it be? Let's separate it for the amateur.
Yeah, I feel like we probably had this conversation before, But I think it's ridiculous that you hit a perfect drive right into a divot. And if I was changing hey Dad, what's going on? If I was changing, one of the rules, I would just change that. And I know the USGA says, it's kind of hard to differentiate between a divot, but we all know, we know if it's a divot or it's just unmaintained grass. So I like that rule. Or maybe you implement a rule where you just give a scorecard of improvement to everybody that's playing, because if you're able to move your ball a scorecard length, yes, you're improving your lie, but everybody has that advantage. So maybe we could implement something like that. It's hard. There's rules of golf, and just as long as everybody's playing the same, but if I was commissioner of the USGA, I would say we really look at that rule.
It works for me. You got to have more fairways, though, Jonathan. Divots in the rough don't count.
My favorite one is the spectator ball. Like, I hit the shot, I know where it went, but it was in the rough and it's just gone. And you're not finding it within a time frame to keep everybody behind you happy. But if there were, people lined up watching us, they would know exactly where it was. Like, we didn't really lose the ball and hooked it into the woods or anything, but rather it's just a spectator ball. So you can be like, I know it was in this area. Put your ball down, hit the next one. You don't lose a stroke. But yeah.
There you go. All right, final question. You're doing you're doing some great things with the par 3 tour. We're excited about what's coming. So what is next? What is the dream goal for the par 3 tour?
To take this concept to the next level is really what we want to do. So I would love nothing more than to go to a golf tournament one day and see people with the par 3 logo, because they're united by a common mission. I've had the opportunity to share this vision with some pretty cool people, and it's just a way that we're going to be able to unite everybody. We've tried to look at target demographics, like who do we want to really target, and I would say we would like people that are not as good at golf to try this, because it is a fun concept. Bogey max, maybe if you're just getting into golf. But it's really for golfers of all skill levels. Professionals can come play our tournaments. If you think you can shoot 4, 5, 6, 7 under, come do it. That's pretty hard to do. But if you're a higher handicapper, and you're getting not a shot on every single hole on the back 9, that goes a long ways. When you make par, that's a net birdie every single time. So that's the goal. We really want to take it national, and we're really excited about doing that. We didn't think we would be as far as we are right now, so God's really blessed us.
Well, I can't wait. Let us know whenever the tournament's in Vegas. We'll come out. Best Ball will be all the interviews, get you guys live podcasts and everything else. So, Marcus, this has been a lot of fun, as expected. I didn't think this would be a disappointment. I hope we didn't completely waste your evening. Yeah, listen, if you haven't already done it, pause yourself, or while you're listening to the podcast, went out and checked out par3tour.org. We're going to post all of the social media stuff for Marcus as well as the par 3 when this comes out. So, again, thanks so much for Marcus, for Robbie. This is Jonathan, and thank you for listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.